Funny enough, I'm on my work break while I film this, and
I don't have a second job. Maybe I am having an affair with Suzanne Summers.
I just wanted to make a quick little rant about Gen Z, our issues with the work cycle, and general depression that we're probably all dealing with. This kind of Hague, well, maybe not that kind of Hague. This kind of fog, this spiritual fog, I think a lot of us are stuck in that we're trying to navigate through. What's really interesting to me is I believe off the top of my head that our generation is less religious than ever, but we're still spiritual. It's something to keep in mind going forward when we look at how we deal with the issues and problems that arise that other generations had dealt with in a variety of ways that was much more caustic than what. I think one of the best little excerpts that I found was this quick video. I'm going to play it right now in the background.
Let me demystify corporate America for you all really quickly. It's nothing but a stage. And once you realize that you are an actor, it becomes super easy. Just get the lines down and the cadence and just practice your delivery. Yes, I can get that to you right away, okay? By end of day, okay. We'll have to circle back, really and truly. But I'm really confident that we can achieve our goals. And that's like level one.
I think that's a really good quick breakdown of how annoying it can be in a very first world way to work in a lot of these 9-to-5 jobs that we're all in. I myself have done just a little bit of everything, frankly, from blue collar work in the sun and under a roof, from like dog sitting and housekeeping for a while. I was a housekeeper for about 1.5 years, and I that just made me like spiral into this entire thought pattern of why I even wanted to make or talk about this in the first place. And it's going to be a part of a larger video in the future, blah. It is so condemning to work your hardest day in and day out and then see yourself in the exact same spot 4 or 5 years later. I'm in a precarious situation myself. I've had certain opportunities that I have totally let pass me by, and I've had certain opportunities that I just didn't work hard enough to take at the time. You could consider those both of the same thing. To me, I look at it differently due to my personal perspective, mostly health issues. I think a lot of us in the USA currently have a huge issue with the way the health system is structured. You hear a lot about wait times being worse in other countries, but when you look back specifically here, I had to schedule a dermatology appointment in January, and I was barely seen, I believe, at the beginning of this month of May. I scheduled in January. That's 5 months, 4 months that I had to wait. Things like this are extremely common. People died during the Obamacare lapse over. People died during COVID from the lack of education and the miseducation that people received. Few people in our government specifically. The thing is, we can't take everything at face value. We need to look much more beyond what seems to be sarcastic or facetious, regardless of who it's coming from. I think at the end of the day, especially when we're dealing with how we feel about our lives and when we go to work, we do need more gratitude. And I'm not talking gratuity, I am talking literal gratitude. I am slowly working myself into a position where I can quit my job. And it is something that will be feasible to me, but it's only because I have worked on the skill every day nearly for about 1,000 days now. And that skill is unrelated to what I do here. It is something that I work very hard on, and a lot of people see it as complete bullshit, and I don't blame you. And it took a lot of literal blood, sweat, and tears. I used the word earlier, I'm a caustic person myself. So it is very difficult for me to be in an environment that is so structured, that is so routine, that doesn't allow me to like flex my creativity, you know? And this is something I'm doing on my lunch break, as I said a minute ago. I'm just trying to get a quick rant out so I can make more videos, so I can make more content, so that I have more of a catalog of things to view. I feel like I should have been doing all these things that I'm doing now 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. And I waited, and I don't know why. I really couldn't even tell you why I waited so long. I think this next one is going to be pretty great.
You want to know why Gen Z is pushing back against traditional workplace norms? Maybe it's because they're right. They're calling us all out. They're calling us out on the expectation to be available 24/7, the idea that presence equals productivity, the pressure to give your whole self to work. And I can tell you, these aren't just Gen Z issues. They're human issues that we've just normalized for way too long.
Just to jump in there, a big contingency for me about all of this is the expectation that other people have put onto me. Who am I going to be? How am I going to live my life? What am I going to end up as? It's simple, but when you're a child and you're in class, hopefully you got that. If you didn't, I'm sorry. It wasn't all that it's chalked up to be. The structure was nice. If you were a child in class way back in the day and you got asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be? And everybody would shoot out these crazy fucking answers like astronaut, fireman. I think I wanted to be an astronaut fireman, and one of the teachers had to tell me that there were no fires in space, and I said, watch. It never worked out. The point is, there was a totally different idea of what the future would hold for a lot of us. You ask kids the same questions now, a lot of them say, content creator, YouTube, I want to be on YouTube. Or they probably don't sound like that. A lot of them do have deeper voices than me. I want to be on YouTube. It's really redundant, and it makes me sad because a lot of the people and a lot of the reasons why I think people in my demographic, my age, I'm 26, going to be 27 soon. I think a lot of people in our area, we looked at people on YouTube not necessarily as like role models, at least not me. I never was able to find any good structured role models. A lot of them turned into very complicated individuals, some with felonies, unfortunately. That's just the YouTube game. I think a lot of the issue stems from how we perceive what we did versus what we do now. You know, we were all kids growing up with the internet, and now we're grown-ups with the internet, and it just doesn't feel the way it did. You know, Pokemon never just absolutely encapsulated my life. There was a point for about 4 years in middle school, and no, I wasn't in middle school for 4 years. It was just a long period of time where I believed I was going to genuinely be one of the best Pokemon trainers that ever lived. That didn't work out either, like being the fireman in space. The thing is, our perspectives are so skewed that it's very hard for any of us to have a grounded point of view. I believe personally, everything that I say, grain of salt. I am nobody, I am no one. I'm another voice in the ether. All I'm saying is that I get it. I understand if you're Gen Z or whatever around my age and you're really looking to quit, especially if you've had to deal with this onslaught of news, basically all negative for the past year and a half specifically, if you feel me. Free Palestine. If you've had to deal with that, then you know how absolutely helpless it feels. I mean, I've poured like 50, 60 hours into passion projects that have gotten 50 views, and it's truly crushed my soul to a degree that I didn't think I would feel. It's crazy, the mood swings and the emotional tonality of things nowadays are just so sharp. If you're not with it, then you're out. It's really, really hard to deal with that whiplash all the time, and I'm just saying that I really get it. If you have anything to add, if you want to just talk, you know, go ahead and hit me in the comments. Always looking for new ideas too. My next video is going to be called the GenZillennial, and it will play into this a good bit. I'm probably going to put out a few kind of like this seesawing in the meantime. Honestly, just because it makes me feel good. I have a lot of stuff to say. I don't have really any friends to say it to, and the few people that I do, it's overwhelming. And my fiance's asleep. Love you all who watched. I really appreciate you. Even if you dislike it, I know there's a couple of you in there who've been doing that. It still helps with the engagement. I'm really happy to make connections. I'm really happy to actually have conversations with people to a degree that's not so surface level. And I'm hoping I can do a lot more of that, and I'm really hoping that I can learn a lot more going forward about myself, about the world, about you. So if there's anything you want to tell me, let me know at any point. I'm very open and receptive to whatever the fuck anybody has to say. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.